So this section shows you some of the stairs moving up through the building, the series of levels overlooking this space. We were quite interested that there was a good degree of transparency between the rooms and the spaces circulating around the Congress rooms, all overlooking the central courtyard. This is the smaller auditorium, and you can see these platforms all surrounding and making balconies overlooking the central terrace. We have decided that the way to handle the enormous roof that will exist on such a building is to treat it almost like a sky that covers over several buildings. So if one imagines the Congress rooms are all individual buildings, then there would be an enormous roof letting in a good degree of daylight. This is a conceptual structural model of the building, indicating an idea of a huge wooden roof. And it will not be completely transparent. This is a structural model. And then in the perimeter of the building, large punched holes providing big windows at the sort of scale of this building rather than lots of little windows. If we take off the skin and the roof, this is a model just showing the buildings surrounding this central space that steps up and through the project. And then this is just an artist's impression of that internal courtyard space. It's not an auditorium, this is the space between the between the auditoriums, and you can see the balconies overlooking the central space. And this idea of the enormous wooden roof, which is very, very continuous across all the spaces, allowing daylight to come through into the space. The scale of these spaces is so big that it would almost feel external. And then inside an auditorium, we're just studying this idea that instead of it feeling like a very closed black box, it feels more like a space where balconies are overlooking it, with people perhaps circulating around the building, and the same roof providing daylight perhaps provides daylight even to the auditorium. Obviously we have to be able to take out the light sometimes, but perhaps also when there are daytime congresses, it would be very nice to have natural daylight in the space and a connection with the outside. This just shows the elevations, and we've been playing. The idea for the walls is that actually the building would be almost one big object. Perhaps it's cast in situ concrete building with big openings, and it's not made of pieces. The idea that it's not made of components, but it's enormous. It is actually what it looks. It suggests in the massing model is a very strong shape with openings, and we have the arcade here. But we're also playing, it's something that we've taken from our original studies in the master plan with patterning of this enormous surface, and maybe the formwork for the concrete work could sort of take on an idea of playfulness with the idea of the patterns that we see in Segovia, and we've just been playing with that at the moment. This is without the pattern, and with this pattern, which all happens during construction, and it's not a cladding, it's part of the monolithic quality of the project. And that's